During the COVID-19 pandemic, charities are really stepping up to the plate. BBBsGive.org is proud of its network of trusted, accredited charities that are working innovatively to find safe ways to fulfill their mission. I'm joined today by Claire Babineau-Fontenot, Chief Executive Officer at Feeding America, to talk about how her organization is facing the challenge. Claire, Feeding America has quickly emerged as a leading charity safeguarding vulnerable populations during this crisis. How is Feeding America working to safely fulfill its mission during this trying time?
The operative term really is safety. We do not want anything that we do to compound the struggles of people facing hunger. So we have optimized and been very focused on following really rigorous safety practices to protect them, as well as the members of our team who are right out there on the front lines trying to help them. It has resulted in some significant changes in our distribution model, and that has been one of the reasons that people see these long lines of cars from families waiting for food to feed themselves as well as their children.
I know in my county, there's an astounding number of people who don't know where their meals are coming from the next day. How are hunger needs changing across the country? Are there any areas of the country presenting particular challenges?
One of the things that we do at the national level at Feeding America is to assess where the needs are around the United States. Your viewers may not be familiar with our network. Our network of 200 food banks are located across the United States, in Puerto Rico as well, so that we can, in partnership with 60,000 agency partners, soup kitchens, etc., meal programs, we can reach the breadth of the U.S. and therefore we're well positioned to assess what the needs are. What we've seen is, on average, a 70% increase in need across the United States. And we have seen some pockets where the need is even more acute than other places. For instance, South Carolina has seen a 200% increase in need. A state like Texas has seen a 100% increase in need. So absolutely, there have been pockets, just as you might imagine when a community relies heavily on service industries like restaurants, they are inordinately impacted by challenges like food insecurity.
In a recent donor survey, we found that 50% of donors intend to maintain their level of support, and another 30% intend to give more. For people who can and want to help, what is the best way to support your efforts?
Well, there again, I feel I have to start with a foundational point, which is the outpouring of generosity and support that we've seen across all sectors has been unprecedented. And people facing hunger never needed it more. We've assessed that the gap inside of our own network over the course of 6 months is $1.4 billion. That is not going to come from partnerships from individual donors alone. It will require a comprehensive type of partnership apparatus that includes public partnerships, private partnerships, and individual donors. What I would say of those individual donors who are sitting there really desperate to be helpful, that the two things that I would encourage them to do are, one, to provide resources if they can through feedingamerica.org. At that site, you're giving an opportunity to have that national view that I talked about before. Because we have access to Pulse data survey, we then re-gift that money directly into local communities where the needs are greatest. And we have committed through COVID-19, a fund that we have for COVID-19, that 100% of the gifts that we receive are going right back directly into those local communities. A second vehicle that people have, if they have a particular community that they care most deeply about, go again to feedingamerica.org, and there you will find a food bank locator. Put in your zip code and you can find the community food bank that serves the community that you care the most about, be that the place where you live or where you're from or where you've worked, etc. So there are ways that you can help. And we really, really appreciate every single contribution that we get, no matter how big or how small.
Claire, I want to thank you for sharing your insights and for your leadership, especially during this time.
I must tell you that this work is by far the most humbling and the most rewarding work I've ever done in my whole professional life. I feel privileged that I get to do it, and I'm so honored that you would have me as your guest. Thank you so much.
COVID-19 reminds us of our collective interdependence and vulnerability. BBB's Give.org encourages you to stay close to the charities that you care about. This is a critical time for charities in our sector. And to find organizations that you can trust, go to Give.org.